Hi, this is a conversation with Roberta Herzberg. Roberta, why is it different, the Bloomington School, from other choices for solving community problems?
Well, I think what makes the Bloomington School such an important way of thinking about different institutional arrangements and what people are capable of is its emphasis on the ability of people to self-govern. That so frequently, in using the methods of public choice and using the methods of political science or economics, theorists assumed that you would find yourself in periods of tragedy because people would follow these very narrowly based, self-interested rules, and it would drive them down to, for example, in the common pool resources that they studied, it would drive them down to complete destruction of the commons, that people wouldn't be able to operate in those arenas. And in observing empirically what was happening in the world, the Ostroms, Elinor and Vincent Ostrom, who are at the head of the Bloomington School and really the heart of the Bloomington School, they discovered that in fact, people were frequently able to resolve even the most complex and difficult of social dilemmas. And so in trying to resolve those social dilemmas, what were the rules, what were the strategies that worked best? And so that's where they put their focus. Elinor Ostrom, as you may know, went on to be recognized on her work on common pool resources with a Nobel Prize in economics, the first woman to win, and in fact the only woman to have received the Nobel Prize in economics, sharing it in 2009 with Oliver Williamson. She was recognized for the fact that she combined good economic analysis and analytic tools, theory, with excellent field research, going out and understanding how people actually did these things, actually put together institutions, and then also work in the experimental lab to test the theories. And out of that, she was able to distill down sort of 8 important design principles that helped people to organize for themselves to solve these complex problems.
Roberta, how can we differentiate the Bloomington's approach with collectivist style approaches?
Well, the Ostroms were very clear that when they talked about people being able to collectively arrange themselves and self-govern, they never assumed people had collective interests. What they believed is it was in the individual interest of people to organize themselves in institutions that allowed them to take advantage of some of the very promising aspects of working together. The sort of team, community, what we can do together that we cannot do alone. But we do them together because each one of us has the same kind of interest in that, in trying to achieve that goal. And when you look at it from that perspective, methodological individualism undergirds all of the Bloomington School. You can only understand it if it is in the interest of the individual. If we assume the group has an interest, then if in fact one member of that group does not share that or decides to violate it or thinks it's worthwhile to sort of affect his fellow persons with a negative kind of outcome, cheat on them or use more than he is permitted under the rules, then there's no way to explain that if you're talking about it as a collective interest. But when you talk about it as an individual interest, you can separate that person out and say, how are we going to address the cheaters? How are we going to address the people that don't share or see this longer term? Well, we're going to have a way of dealing with them.